So we're back with Miss Kym Mazelle.
How you doing, Lenny?
I'm all right. I'm all right. So I want to ask you about the screaming Rachel. Was she screaming all the time at you? You work on her because she screams when she it's like, yo, what with the cats? What was going on with these cats going on?
It was a hot mess. It was just like, oh my God. It was like holes in the ceiling, cats everywhere. And it was a club. But, she had this business head on her, and I was watching for that, and I got so many credits for my university credits toward graduating. So, I was just like, okay, and she was like in the punk kind of scene a little bit.
I was gonna say, she's a rock and roll girl.
Yeah, her thing was kind of like, not even Pat Benatar, a little bit deeper than that, like a grunge Cyndi Lauper, like a bit of a grunge Cyndi Lauper. I'm talking 1983 here. So, the torn up fishnets. I mean, all of that stuff before Madonna did it. That was basically her. And
so what was your job as the intern per se there? Like, what was your duties there for her?
I did press.
Okay.
Yeah, I did press. I put together sort of like the flyers, talking to try to get a few little sponsors, things like that. I did make tea, sweep the floor, type, run from the cats. I was like, and I couldn't stay there long because I just really didn't like cats. And there was a lot of them. She just had a lot of cats. I remember that. But she was very clever.
And that's the thing about, with her. I'm not going to say anything negative. I met her a few times. She's really cool with me. I know there's some bad blood with some of the Chicago people and the record label stuff, but I'll leave that for another show.
Probably. And I haven't seen her since 1983. So.
Because she's involved with Chicago, the Traxs label, and there's just so much.
Larry Sherman. Oh, that's another person. I even did an intern there. Yeah.
Oh, you interned for Larry Sherman too?
I did intern at Larry Sherman. I did, you name them, because they were just putting stuff on the board at Columbia College in Chicago. And I was like, hey, how else are you going to learn? Yeah. And I went up there and I was like, let me just go get that. Because it was the same record label looking for, whatever, energetic, blah, blah, blah. Come learn the music industry. You get down there, it's a hot mess. There's gangsters there at night about to shoot him. It was just really like full on. I was like, oh my God. But
wow,
I think I got 3 credits for toward my degree between him, Rachel, and some other place. Like I said, I was down at DJ International Records as well with
Rocky Jones.
Yeah, that was one of my really good experiences. He put me on the road. I had to go on the road with one of his acts. He had put together a show, like a house party, like 82 or something like that. And they sent me to New York to be the PA for this. Lolita Holloway, Daryl Pandy, and Sean Christopher, I'll never forget in my life. And we went to New York. It was my first time in New York.
Okay,
first time in a club. It was like I was their slave, basically. And Lolita taught me a lot. She put me under her wing. She took kindly to me. And I'm glad, because I saw what she didn't take kindly to. And if she did not take kindly to you, it was all over. Because as you know, they ended up sampling her voice on a lot of these different records, not paying her. She had to snatch wigs off of people. It was just like loads and loads and loads of drama kind of stuff. But she kind of showed me how to pace yourself, kind of things, and make sure you get your money first. And, remember, you used to get paid really well doing those clubs in New York back in the day. You just go get your money. She wrote it up, put it somewhere, and she's like, Kym, go get the money. I was like, I ain't going to go get no money in that room back there with all the people. She said, you need to learn. Go get the money. I was like, So anyway.
Was this Paradise Garage you went to? Did you work out?
It was like either Save the Robot, The World, Paradise Garage. It was one of these places. It was one of those places. Sound Factory. You were
going everywhere. You were going everywhere with her.
I went one place with them. The rest of the shows was like when I made Taste My Love for me to go.
Oh.
Yeah, when I made Taste My Love, I started going to New York to sing.
No, wait, before we get to who, we got to get to the part of how that happened when you made that song. So, all right, so you're interning and you're working your way up, and you're actually getting a what I call force majeure education because you're in the pit. If Lolita tells you, girl, go in there and get your coins for me, that's pretty much you're learning on-the-job training. You're on-the-job training now, right?
Yeah, this is true. This is.
So are you actually seeing now with Lolita and them, and you thinking, I could do this too? I could sing? Are you thinking this yet or what?
I'm thinking, I don't know, because I can't even talk about some of the stuff I saw because it was kind of deep.
You can, because it's true ass stories, but you don't have to say what happened exactly. You could actually give us.
I mean, it was some gangster shit going on. Excuse my French, but
that's all right.
It was, it was like, okay, well, it was some gangster stuff going on. The suitcases, the money underneath the thing in the back, the gun on top of the whatever. It was
mafia guy. You did a mafioso, right?
Yeah, it was a lot of that. I was around all of that.
Young lady, sit right here, and you got to wait to get that money. You got to be patient, right? You sit there,
and they counting it, and something else is happening, and girls coming in from this and that place.
He's got like a stack of money like this. It's like, hang on. He's got the money like this, and he's got his hand like the gun's right there, right?
Yes, baby, and the suitcase and the flu, and it's just, I was like, okay. Do I want to do this? You know what I mean? But after a while, they kind of took to me. What you want? I said, I'm here for Lolita.
Yeah, so that's what I want to hear. What you see? How they just say what you need? What you need?
I'm here for Lolita. I did not flinch. I kind of read the room. Lolita had already told me to go get it. That means don't come back without it. Because to me, that dude with all the money, guns, or whatever, was nowhere near as frightening as Lolita.
She was frightening, wasn't she?
So, it was just a little test, I said, go get it. And I was like, I'm here for Lolita.
So we used to say back in the old days, honey, did you get piffed?
Did you get who?
Piffed. P-I-F. Paid in full. Did you get piffed?
Oh, okay, piffed. Okay. I was piffed. I don't know what they had sent ahead of time or what, she negotiated something. That was the other thing Lolita would do. She would negotiate something else once she got to the place too. If they want a little extra, whatever, 3 more songs for her to hang out, blah, 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 that was some more money. So I learned that too. She said, your time is your money. So they want me to stay here, do this, that, and that till I need $5,000 more. Go get the money. I was like, okay.
Okay. So now you have to go in the room.
I go in the room.
How scary. Come on, girl. Tell people how scary that feeling is. Because Lolita just told you, I need 5 more thousand.
Go get the money.
Go get me the coins, babe. Go get those coins for us, right? And now you got to go leave her and go in a room with gangster people.
But I'm so naive. I already know. I'm like, it's been arranged. However things are arranged, but I'm thinking properly arranged, but it's not been arranged like that. It's been arranged off the cuff, blah, blah, blah. I'm going in to make sure they back up some stuff that they done said. I don't know. I'm going in to make sure they backed it up. But once I said, I'm here for Lolita, she want the money for the extra. Blah, blah, blah. Who are you?
Well, I'm the road. I'm the road manager.
I'm working with them, blah, blah, blah. Oh, who and blah, blah, blah. You mentioned some names. By then, I know a few names. I done seen some players. I say whatever. And they're like, okay, she cool. Sit down. Sit down. You got to just sit down. They not jumping to you to give you anything. You got to, okay, hang tight. And I guess a test was happening, in the room. Is she cool? Let's show her something else we do. If somebody ain't gonna get no money, how we handle that, and somebody and you sit down and you watch this stuff going on. I'm like, Oh Lord Jesus, just give me this damn money so I can go back to Lolita. I don't want to see nothing else. And thank you very much. And then, they go, and they be playing with you a little bit too. And Kym, you know what? I like you. You all right. You good people. But tell Lolita, that's all we giving her. Okay. Here, Lolita. And I guess she must have been happy, I don't know, with whatever that they gave, because she know them anyway too. And it was thick enough. Let me just say that. It was thick enough. So she know what size it's supposed to feel like. I just gave it to her, said this is what they gave me. And, I'm cool. She's like, okay, you all right. You cool. You can roll with me. And then another time I was working with her, like in London, and I was on the show. I had done Taste My Love, like I said, and I eventually ran back into these guys at some point.
So wait, is Taste My Love the first professional recording that you ever did?
Taste My Love is the first record that I ever did.
Yeah. Take us into that room, girl. Come on.
Taste My Love.
Run your lapel. Take us in. Show us right. We're right there. Bring us in. Like, take us in there.
Taste My Love is like the first record I did. I'm like at Columbia College. I'm interning. I hook up with this guy, Dwayne Powell. He's like a lawyer, and through Donnie Johnson, who was like a promoter, who was like my boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. And, I've been like snooping around. So I know who's doing the music. I know the names. Frankie was just coming over from New York to live in Chicago. Ron Hardy, the clubs, blah, blah, blah. And this guy, Marshall Jefferson, got this record. They want me to go and sing some background vocals. And it's like, I don't know, midnight or whatever. Kym, can you come? And I was living in Chicago or whatever. And I was like, okay. So I get to the studio and they playing the track. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I see the girl, in the studio trying to sing the lead and whatever. And they're like, we just need you to do some breathy Taste My Love, just some breathy sounds, harmonize them, stack them. And I was like, okay, that's pretty simple. I think I could do that, and I don't think I had really like studied hearing my voice in headphones yet, because there's a different sound, when you learn to record down a mic to lay something, it's more of a stereo kind of thing. And I don't think I had really done that. Really, I mean, a few times at Columbia in the classroom, but this was like, okay. But I was like, I got this, I done seen them sing and blah, blah. So I go in and there ain't number 3 lines, Taste My Love, ooh, 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 and stack it. So I go in and I was like done in 5-10 minutes. And I went sat back down, and I'm like, okay, well, that's it. And, nice to meet everybody. Marshall and Dwayne was sitting there, somebody else. And the girl was, I'm noticing she was having a little bit of difficulty with, some different parts of whatever it was that they wanted.
Do you remember her name, the girl that was having the problem?
I do not remember her name.
Because I don't even know if she even exists on any of the recordings or anything. It's like she's gone. So you said, all right, so you sat down.
Yeah, I just kind of sat down because, they were putting my bid up under hers, and then I was about to leave, and then I remember I still saw them talking about something, and then Dwayne said, Marshall said, she having a little bit of problem singing this. Can you just sing the lead? And I was like, yeah, I could do that.
No, but see, but Marshall don't talk that fast. Marshall said, like,
that's true. He doesn't. Hey, he's a slow talker.
Hey, I could hear him saying, Can you go up in there and give us that? I can hear him say something like, give us that lead. And then. Yeah,
because he was like, whatever. Maybe, what's her name? Cynthia. He was like, can you come in here, sweetie, for a minute? And I don't remember she was still in there when I did the lead, or did they tell her to go home? I can't remember, because, Marshall was diplomatic. This is like 1986, 85, 80, early days. And I went in and I did the vocal and finished with the song. And then they started mixing it or whatever it was that they did. Now, at this point, me and Dwayne and Donnie, we had a little label.
What was that?
Records. Yeah, we had a little record label, the 3 of us. And we ended up putting that song on our label. So it was my label that we put that song on. Taste My Love, Police Records.
Dwayne Powell, who I know personally.
Dwayne Powell, that's right, and Donnie Johnson.
I know Dwayne very well.
Yeah, so that was the first song, and then
Everybody hear that? You hear that, people? Police. It was Police Records.
Police Records, baby.
Why that name of all names, Police? What was the connotation behind that?
Donnie Johnson came up with it. He was like a PR advertising genius. He could come up with names for things. He even spelled his name DHONE apostrophe over the E. He was very good at advertisement things and making up names. So, it's a record, Phantom Records or whatever kind of records. You go to these different departments and it's some kind of records, Police Records. And we're like, that's genius. Although I wouldn't want the stigma on me to be getting Police Records. But it was a very, very good kind of time. And then Brick House Productions was our production company, and the label for Police Records was Bricks lined up. So it was all of that. Yes. And
so how do we? Okay, so that's your basic 101 record, not only as a singer, but also as a record label owner. How well did the record do for you overall and all that?
I think we sold everything that we pressed. We only pressed 2,000 copies. We pressed at Peter Pan. Remember Peter Pan pressing plant in New Jersey?
Yeah. Oh my God.
We pressed at Peter Pan. We did not press at Larry Sherman's pressing plant. We went all out to Peter Pan. We got about 2,000 copies.
But why not? Wait. But why not Larry Sherman? Tell people why you did not go to Larry Sherman's. The way you said it too. We did not go to Larry Sherman's.
Oh yeah.
But why did you not go to Larry Sherman's?
Larry Sherman had a bit of a reputation and, using reused old wax. Sometimes other songs would come through your song, the quality, different things. And Larry, Larry was a bit of a gangster himself. But, you didn't know what you were going to have to end up paying for, if you were going to have to sign part of your record over to him just because you pressed it there.
That's crazy. It's crazy that he would be able to pull that kind of card out, that you paid him to press your single and now you're hostage to having to sign it over to him.
He did a lot of different stuff, because you must understand that Larry, some kind of way, he got the first house music artist over to England. I don't know who he did the deal with or how he did it, but I also heard later in the UK that he would not pay some of those guys, Chimpy and Marshall and them and Adonis. He wouldn't pay them, or he hardly paid them. And the guys in the UK said, no, you have to pay these artists. This is just because you're the record label does not mean that, it's all your money. And, record labels, even the major ones, will take you on a promotional tour and say that promotional tour is for free. It's like, I still got to eat. I'm not going on a free promotional tour. So, so needless to say, we went to New Jersey and pressed the record on that.
Peter Pan pressing, yes.
Yeah, Peter Pan. I'll never forget those little early things. I mean, we didn't really know. I probably should have kept the label, but, and the record got picked up by DJs in the UK. And DJs, remember they used to have that DJ list? What they used to call it.
Okay, so there was what they called the tastemakers.
It was a tastemakers list, and then there was another list of records that the DJs had. But it ended up on there, and they were playing it all through New York, everywhere. How you doing? My name is Mazelle, and I've been checking you and your fine body out all night. I want to take you home with me. And it started off like that. And it's had the synthesizer sounds and these 808, 505 kind of little kick drum flare sound. It was just really it was like a deep house kind of thing. And what happened was some DJs in the UK picked it up, took it to the UK and started playing it on UK radio. So, pirate radio though.
Pirate.
We didn't know nothing pirate. We just knew radio. So, fast forward 5 months later, Adonis comes back from touring in the UK. I see his work permit. I said, "Oh, Adonis, can I call that person, there? Because I want to go to England too,
Who's that person that you called, girl? Wait, who was it? I know it's somebody we know. Go ahead.
David Levy.
Wow. David Levy.
David Levy.
God. Yes.
David Levy brought me to the UK.
First, he brought you right over.
He brought me, because what I didn't know, I called him. I said, "Hey, hi, my name is Kym Mazelle, and I want to come to London." But it would have been absolutely ridiculous had that record not been there. And he said, "Are you Kym Mazelle that made Taste My Love?" And I said, "Well, yeah." He said, "You have a #1 record over here." I said, "I do."
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. What do you mean by #1?
What do you mean by #1? He said, "Do you want to come to England?" Basically said, that was that. It was a deal done, because those DJs, remember they used to fly back and forth? Everybody. You'd fly from New York, DJ to London, go to Black Market Records, and pick up vinyl. They were coming to America, picking up vinyl. They picked up my record, and it was just like on the underground. This was all underground. Everything. This was our underground, but the underground was like above ground. It was putting us in places and countries and making.
What we considered underground was to them above ground, basically. In other sense, it's like almost right. So so David Levy brings you over, tells you got a hot record. Who licensed this record in the UK in the end? Who was the one that took it over? You remember?
We didn't actually end up doing a licensing deal with that. I came over to sing. I sang "I'm a Lover" and "Taste My Love," because I ended up doing "I'm a Lover" with Marshall as well. It ended up being a showcase. EMI Records were there, and I got offered a deal. I got offered a major label deal. The first house artist to be offered a major label deal for.
You hear that, everyone? You hear that? That's a groundbreaking moment here. The first house artist to be offered from EMI a deal in house music. Go ahead. So what's that?
International worldwide record deal for 5 albums. So I was like, okay, and everything. Then from there, everything just started moving so fast that my head was spinning.
So they didn't take EMI didn't take the record off the Police label. They had you start to work on new material. Was that what the deal was?
They wanted me to demo a record, I guess, for their own benefit. And maybe if we would have negotiated it or thought about doing that, and I don't know if that was part of the conversation with Dwayne and Rob Sawyer, because Rob Sawyer ended up signing me. But the thing was for me to go in the studio and write something new.
That's what I wanted to make clarified.
Yeah, it was, we'll pay for some studio time. You go in, because Marshall was with me, and Cece was with us. At
Cece Rogers, right?
Yeah, at this particular time as well, because it's 2 different periods in which this happened. The first time, and I always get it muddled.
That's all right. Because
it's 30-something years ago now that this happened. But I recently, for my birthday, I went back to London to go to the British Museum. And then I remembered Matrix Studio is near here, where we wrote Useless and Got to Get You Back. And I went to try to find it, and I found it. It's now somebody's studio. Yes, it's even on my Facebook page. I went down the step. I was like, this is where we started house music on a major label. Da 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 da. Here I went down that stair. The 5th step doesn't squeak anymore, and it's all posh. But I was like, this is where Matrix Studio was. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
That they helped break that door open, EMI. You remember who's the A&R that signed you?
Rob Sawyer, EMI.
Rob Sawyer?
Yeah. Rob Sawyer signed me. Clive Black, the whole team just came and just started supporting me because they were so excited. And also they didn't know what to do because house music was a new genre. I had 9 producers.
9.
9, maybe 11. Frankie Knuckles, Marshall, Gavin Christopher, CNC Music Factory, David Morales, Rick Wake, so many, McFadden and somebody. It was just all these people.
The who's who of the time, basically, the hottest guys.
Yeah, the hottest people of the time. It was like,
How did you feel being? I mean, come on now, you're breaking ground before any. It's like you're Jacques Cousteau. You're there first before anybody else touched that ground.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, I did make sure everybody got work.
Okay, so now what year exactly?
Everybody work.
All right.
I put everybody on. When I got put on, I put everybody. Everybody got put on. I'm telling you. Sean, Squeaky, Gav, everybody got put on. And got paid properly, off my, I made sure I did. I really, really, really did. And yeah, I did do that. I must say.
Tyree Cooper came on a moment ago and he wanted me to ask a question about.
Hey, Tyree! Oh my God! And Tyree,
yes, he wanted me to know about the vocals of Video Crash. Something with Video Crash or something. Were you the vocalist, or let me see if I can find it. Tyree wrote something about. Ask her about.
That fucking I Don't Even Want to Sing, which ended up being something that Little Lewis ended up.
Original. Okay, ask Kym about her vocals on the original Video Clash from Marshall Jefferson. You remember that?
God, vaguely, but yes, that was some ad libs actually from Dum, 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 dum. It was a song that we wrote called "Give Me Love." And it was the ad libs from, and "Give Me Love" should have been released, but EMI was moving me so fast that I skipped "Give Me Love." I remember Farley Jack Master Funk said, "Kym, I need that song. I still have it on cassette." But it should have been put up with the rest of the stuff, and so many things got
lost in the sauce.
Got lost. It didn't get used, and even the Crazy album was. They did it so fast. It was the demos. I was demoing songs. They released the demos, basically.
Is that how it rolled?
That's how it rolled. That whole album were my demos. I was going in and flying everywhere to sing demos of stuff and to write in studios that, and I thought I was going back in to, fix something or, do something else. And I was like, that's it. We love it. I was like, no, who Larry Heard did a song with Larry, "Treat Me Right." Man, Chicago. I mean, Tyree Cooper. Oh my God, Tyree. Oh my God.
Okay, so I remember "Useless" is being played for a while before EMI drops that single. I remember.
Yeah, it was like on the underground. It was like pre-release before I even knew. Before it was, once we recorded it, they were just like, "Here, give it to us. We're gonna," and they just put it out there. Aside like white labels, remember white labels and all of that kind of stuff. And what was the name of that DJ list thing? I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, it was put on that. I think Ben Coleman had put it on Billboard, like Hot 100 before it was released, and who else was
Tony Humphreys is a big reason.
Tony Humphreys jumped on that song.
Killed that record. He played it weeks, months. It was months he was running before it came out. People were begging for the record to come out.
Wow. I wish I'd known, but I was like over in London. Now, see, this is the other thing that a lot of people don't understand too about house music and dance hall from Jamaica. It fueled the pirate radio stations Kiss and Choice. They didn't really have music. They took house to create those two stations and dance hall from Jamaica, and all of the early house records and Useless was played to death at Kiss FM radio. And they, after like about a couple of years, they went into becoming a major radio station. But Chicago house music, and then maybe Detroit, and then New York. I don't know which way it went next, how it fell. The Jack, all of that is what gave the listenership to the pirate radio stations in the UK. It was all of those records, because they didn't have stuff, and then the Lovers Rock dance hall from Jamaica. Those two genres, or new genres, because those were new genres being birthed.
Really?
Yeah.
And you again, here we are.
Here we are.
You are number one in the first position of playing when ground is being broken. So we're hearing your song being played all over the radio in the UK. Well, I should say London, because Kiss FM was a London station.
Yes, Kiss FM was London. Radio Clyde was like Scotland, Glasgow, Edinburgh, that area. Then you had in Manchester was what's his name? Because you had the Hacienda, and I'm trying to think of his name right now. Mike Schaff ran the radio station in Manchester and that whole area. Then you had another station in Sheffield, and then another one in Leeds. And I'm telling you, child, I went from city to city, town to town. I was like up and down that motorway left. I mean, really, I was Harriet Tubman of house music for real. I was like every radio station, every little club. EMI had me really, really breaking like boundaries and really working that sound, house as it's becoming pop, as it's becoming mainstream. You know what I mean? Myself, a diva. It was just basically me and Pat. You know, because none of that other stuff, Crystal, Waters, Cece, they hadn't even none of that happened yet.
Let's have the surname of Pat, which
a diva.
That's right. I want everybody to know, because I know it's Patricia, but anyway.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So basically, and Allison
Limerick.
No, Allison Williams.
Oh, Allison Williams.
Been talking in your so Allison. It was yeah, and that, I mean, it was us, the three of us, really the two, me and Pat, just all
groundbreakers, total groundbreakers.
Oh, that was us, and that was it. And then, like I tell people, I say I opened the door and they left me holding the doorknob, because after that they ran us over, and you know, before you knew it, everybody had like some type of, and Tyree will know that too. They started picking up on the sound and blah 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 blah. And but
did you with any of these songs on EMI? Were they able to get them to go into the main chart? Yeah. All of the underground girl, you got
top 40. I became like top 40, top 20 mainstream artist, top of the pops every Thursday. My gosh, tour. I remember I sold out Wembley 8 nights. My first gigs in the UK was after those initial sort of like what do you call them, showcases. I end up like opening 1989 for Alexander O'Neill. Our first show, we sold out Wembley Arena 8 nights in a row. So, and I remember the thing on the wall was Kym Mazelle from one end of Wembley to the other. I had a live band. I had part of Terrence Trent D'Arby's band. I had Sean Christopher with me, Donnell Rush. I was like, y'all got to come with me. Like I said, I was putting everybody on. They wouldn't let me bring over musicians from Chicago at that point. They used, like I said, I used Terrence Trent D'Arby's band, some of his band, and somebody else, because Terrence was out. He was hot, wishing love, oh, wishing well. Kiss and Tell. So, you know, I ended up with some of those guys. Every TV show I was on, breakfast TV, breakfast radio. I mean, I go to Harrods with a private shopper and Daimler cars and Rolls Royces. I mean, all of that. I lived around the corner from what's Elizabeth Taylor and what's his name? Richard Burton. I mean, you know, all of the everything. Winner takes it all. Everything.
You went from the girl down the street to
everything.
To the queen of house.
I mean, everything. Working with Mick Jagger, working with Van Morrison, working with Soul to Soul, everything. Grammys, nominations, blah, blah, blah. Gold records, the platinums, 6-time platinums with the Romeo and Juliet project with Leonardo DiCaprio and Baz Luhrmann. I did Young Hearts Run Free. We went 6 times platinum, Block the World, you know, just all of these things. Mainstream fashion show, John Paul Gaultier making my shoes. All of it. Yeah. I don't like to talk about all that stuff because I
have to talk about it.
I guess so. Yeah.
It's an accomplishment beyond Look, let's take it down one notch. Think about it. You went from interning, creating your own label, to EMI picking you up, and then this. So did it happen overnight, in a sense? See what I'm saying? When they say it happens overnight, did it really happen overnight? Or did it take a lot of time to get to that?
It took a lot of preparation, you know, for them. But even in the prepping, even coming, like, being in Chicago and at the school and all this, I had a daughter. I'm a single mom as well.
Tell us how would that.
You know what I mean? I'm a single mom as well. I was singing jingles as well to put myself through school and to look after my daughter. My daughter stayed in the dorm with me, and I was like on the north side of Chicago at Mundelein College, right next to Loyola, all women's Catholic college, because they were the ones that would allow me to bring my daughter to stay in the dorm with me. And then I did a student exchange program with Columbia College downtown. So I was in between these two places, because I was at Mundelein, I was singing opera. I was singing opera. I was singing Puccini, like La Traviata, Tosca, La Boheme. I was learning opera. I was like interested. I thought I was going to be like Leontine Price or Grace Brumbry or one of those big old divas. So I even did an internship at the Chicago Lyric Opera House as well, and sang in the choir with Pavarotti. That's just a little side note. I got to do some So yeah, this is like multitask. I remember Dwayne used to say, "Are you never not working?" I was like, I'm trying to figure all this, stuff out. I used to sing jingles at Morgan Proctor's mom's advertising studio, Proctor and Gardner, and Barbara Proctor was the first Black woman to own her own advertising agency in Chicago. She was bigger than Oprah. Oprah hadn't even got there yet, and she did all of the jingles and at Burrell. So I'm like, I'm just, and all of that was fun. The journey's been amazing. It's the west side of Chicago and that little crazy apartment with Marshall Jefferson and, oh God, and everybody just coming through. It was just so many people like coming through. Me and Robert Owens, I love Robert. When we came over here and we were like performing in Germany before the wall came down. Me, Byron Stingley, Tin City, all of us, we did the first tour. We were the first house music artists to have a tour with a live band, 1989.
Was it called house music officially? I don't remember it being called house music yet. As it was told by us, we called it that. But I'm talking from the commercial side of the business.
Yeah, I don't think it was, actually.
And I'll tell you why.
I don't think it actually was.
Dance music was the stepchild of the music industry. They hated dance music at the majors. They hated all of us, and they hated everything.
They did.
Right? Kym, tell them.
They hated us. They hated us. They hated us so much that the man that I did an internship with Steve Dahl at WLS, did a whole campaign, Disco Sucks, and blew up every dance record in what was it, Cubs Park or in White Sox Park. He did that. They did. They absolutely hated it. Oh my God, it's so much. It's just so much. We broke so many barriers.
Yeah, I'm right. That's why I want you to make sure you clarify that, because
so much. It's like so much. My head is like going like, and trying to, go back to, different things. And when you first heard, Jack your body, jack your body. Those kind of things when you first heard it in the club, and so many broken beats just on a cassette that you would just take to Ron Hardy or one of the other DJs. And what was the name? Tyrese, listen, there was the gay club on the north side of Chicago. Why can't I think of the name of that club right now? What was it called?
Warehouse?
Not the Warehouse. Even though the Warehouse was very important in Berlin, it was another place.
Where's Tyree Cooper? Come on.
It was another place. It was another place. But the Warehouse was just like amazing. And I was like, that was like in the meat district. And you, like you say, you wake up early in the morning. Not wake up. You come out the club early in the morning, and all the butchers, you can see just cows hung upside down.
Somebody wrote, Reginald wrote the Rays.
The Rays was one too, but
Generator.
Oh wow, the Generator. Oh my God. There was so many clubs though. Power Plant, no, not, but that was another one too.
The game's closed, everyone.
It was so many. It was so many. In that area now, it's full of lofts, and DJ International has been renamed the street, Randolph Street, which is where the Warehouse was. And early in the morning, the blood running down the street because it was the meat district. And when you leave in the morning, obviously the butchers are up early, getting ready to sell the meat, and we be coming out of the nightclub. Looked like daylight gonna catch me up again. And it did, and just all the music. And that's when we went to dance. We didn't even go there to mate or court or to meet anybody. You just went to dance, and a track would come on or a beat would come on. And from me, one of my favorite songs, I used to love Lisa and Colt Jam. I Wonder If I Take You Home. They used to mix that with some kind of weird break beat from some Casio, whatever kind of song. And I was like, and just so many different songs. I can't even remember the name of all of the Acid House that was just house. It was more electronic, but then of course they had to give it a name and break it up because they took our music, cut it up for parts, and sold it. That's right. That's exactly what they did. They stripped us like a chop shop. Yeah, they did.
How long does this stardom and this star power for you really last? When you hit that moment of, you said, I was with around the corner living from Elizabeth Taylor. I went to Harrods. I'm all over on the top shows. How long does it really last for you?
For me, about 20 years.
20 years?
Until I wanted it to stop, because because I had to stop, because it would have just kept going, maybe even more than that. But I'd say that fast, a good 10, 12. It would, because I had to stop. I did, because it was. I couldn't exhale. I couldn't breathe. It wouldn't let me go. It just wouldn't let me go. I mean, I lived with Shaka Khan for 5 years, and that is a lesson in itself, and a beautiful lesson of what a wonderful, woman. So many people I met just coming by her house just to have dinner, Greg Filling Games and all these different people, while they're on tour with Michael, going to the World Music Awards in the south of France. All of that stuff I'm doing with the Prince of whatever. I had lunch with Princess Diana in 1989. All of these things. I'm like, it just was so surreal. And then, the demands, and then the people that hang on, that you can't figure out who's who. what do they want? After a while, you go like something's funny, and then it just became like a lot. It just became a lot, and I just was like, okay, I just need to breathe and just go back to Gary, Indiana. Even Michael Jackson wrote him going back to Indiana. Everybody just needs to kind of like
exhale.
Exhale. Yeah.
How long did you go home for?
Well, I didn't. I just moved.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I never made it. I just really didn't. I mean, I always went home like every year, like for Christmas and different things like that, just to, whatever. But I never my mind still stayed in that heavy rock and roll state. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll state, heavy. So I was like, I just need to exhale. How do I, and when you're trying to let go of some things, you don't want to lose everything, but sometimes the only way to let go is you just got to let go and let the chips fall as they may.
But why? Why would you see? Let me give you the outside.
Tired.
That's what I'm
tired.
Let me give it to you from somebody who's trying to get in. Now imagine someone that's saying, God, I wish I could even get a chance to get a record deal. And here you are, you're getting everything you could maybe not even dream of. You didn't know it existed. You were just going with the flow as things were unfolding, right? You're in the machine.
In it
deep, day to day, as we say. How do you give it? How do you say enough? Enough. Why? And why? Was it going to kill you? And what was the deal?
It's not easy to say enough. And, you do get tired. It starts moving too fast. I remember I was talking to Sherelle, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And she was like, she said, she just called and said, this train is moving too fast. I need to get off just, for a moment, just to take off these eyelashes or take these heels off or take this bra off or just, just to exhale just for a second. Because once you get in that machine, it's a constant and you have to be on. You have to be on. And then you may have some little, appetites, some little midnight appetites too that kind of creep in. So you got, and somebody, if they find out about that, my God, they're going to come in like those things on the Matrix that was coming to tear down the house. Boy, my God. And then everybody's got a song or a cousin or a tour or something for you to promote or somewhere for you to go. And sometimes it sounds all right, because it's on a big level. You don't know what to pick when it's like, do you work with Van Morrison, Mick Jagger, or I go to lunch with Princess Diana? It's all these big things and you don't know what to pick. It's so many choices of everything, and some of them are wrong, but they look right. Some once you get down that rabbit hole, not everything is good. Not everything is good. What you get your own label, pace your own self, and run your own business.
But that's what I was going to ask you. Can you give someone, like, if I was coming up the business and asked you that question, what's the pitfall? Like you would say to somebody, be careful. What do you have to be careful with? Like, what is the part that you dealt with, been around it, and you understand it? What is that?
Don't believe the hype.
What do you mean?
Don't believe the hype. Like all the promotion and all the press and all that stuff, you can get caught up in a lot of the hype from people coming to offer you things. Even like some of the biggest agents or managers that might sign you to something. Sometimes they've signed you to like a ball and chain, and you might not to their own dream of what they think you should do, which is so far from what you want to do. I had a situation where this guy was like one of the biggest managers. The record company hooked me up with him, and I went with him because I figure I signed a big contract with them. This is their person, I guess. He manages whatever. But at the same time, someone had privately come to me for me to do a tour of 20, 30 shows in theaters around England. which is what I really wanted to do, which would have built me up, self-contained, doing shows.
Okay.
That manager went to those people and canceled the whole thing because he thought I didn't have anything to promote, which I had a new album and we could have pulled any single off of that. But the other thing he felt was some of them just be like whacking their own selves when they got power over you to go and speak for you in front of someone else. They're like, no, this still isn't good enough. We're going to crash it. And Kym's not doing it. Well, Kym would have done it. It would have benefited me. But now this new player that I've given power to has talked me out of a deal that I really could have used for forever. And maybe those people would have benefited me more even down this road 20, 30 years later, more than this guy that I fired him like about 4 months after that, or maybe a year after that, because it just wasn't working. He couldn't deliver what he said he was going to do. And I started seeing that it was too entrenched in the record company. Because sometimes when record companies sign you, they send you the lawyer, they send you this, and da-da-da-da-da, and it's all in, and you lose total control. Total control. So
that's a hard thing to deal with when you lose total control.
That's what those major deals were. And they would ask you, oh, what do you think, this and that, and blah blah blah. Because I was a new artist with a new genre. Some things, but not all, because that boss had another boss that had another boss, and they're trying to bring in units and numbers and crack this form of music before the next group catch on that this is going to be a new. The UK knew that this was going to be the next form of music before we figured it out. Before we figured it out, they had their next already lined up. They had DJs to replace all the Marshalls and all of the Frankies. They had Fatboy Slims and Pete Tong. They had them ready. Okay.
Ooh, she laid it out. She's laying it, and it's real. This is so real. It's called business, nothing personal.
And
they manufactured all their people. They manufactured everything they needed, right?
They were sending over young Chicago people to get the blueprint of house. Once they got the blueprint of how the formula worked, they started tweaking it because that's what they did for forever. They did that with the blues, with rock and roll. They did that with Motown for something. That's what they do. We weren't like really, you're not going to be on top of all of that. You're trying to pay your bills once you get and sign that deal. Once you get and sign that deal, you trying to recoup once you sign that deal. You know what I mean? You're trying to be honorable to what you signed. And I was like, wow, I've signed this. I need to make good. So where they sent me, I went, and some of it really worked. Like if you went up to down north or south on the weekend, I don't care how grubby the place, and you did 3 or 4 shows, Thursday, you were on Top of the Pops with a top 40 record. And that's how it worked. A lot of artists didn't want to do that because they were either from some of the American ones didn't understand it. Some of the British ones thought it was, I'm not going to that place. That's a shithole, whatever. I took myself to every shithole that there was, or whatever, if you want to call it. People were there, people that loved my music, and I respected them. I didn't know that was how it worked to get you to Top of the Pops, or how it worked to keep you still working for 30 years later. But that investment of that is what it brought.
That sounds like, to me, the American equivalent of saying the Chitlin circuit.
Whatever you want to call it, baby.
Chitlin gigs are the gigs that you take up. They're not real payers, and they're not in the best of places, but they actually make the difference of keeping you in the game. They
made like so many people, you don't even hear of them anymore. And it's like, I'm on tours now. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I've been booked as long as I, want to get booked. You know what I mean? Obviously we had COVID and we're coming back from that, but we've got new shows and things coming up now, and festivals coming up now here in the UK that, I'm part of. I also was the record company put me in front of television because I'm a likable person. And so I did all of the morning breakfast shows as well. So people got to know my face, my name, my story. I did a soap opera, where I played the American diva coming to England to buy a horse. So I was able to kind of do a lot. But I was also, I was away from home. I was in a foreign country. I didn't understand pounds, yen, peso, all of that kind of stuff. I had to kind of learn, on my feet. And then me and Jocelyn hooked up. Me and Jocelyn Brown hooked up, and we did a duet project because Simon Cowell came to me to do another record. And then this was in the 90s too. Simon Cowell was at BMG, and we just started talking. And then he went from, it being me to say, what about we did like a duet with somebody and something like this. And I can't totally remember, but I do remember first I thought about Gwen Guthrie. I do. I do remember that. I was like, I did think, I was like, oh, but then Jocelyn was in the UK as well.
Living as well.
He had been in London, and we were crossing each other like ships in the night. So I didn't really, I wasn't on shows with her yet, but I knew her. She's a brilliant artist. I knew her music and everything. And I was like, well, shit, if she here, let's come on. What are we waiting for?
It's iconic. That's another iconic sister.
It was like, and it was like two powerhouses. It's like, she's like the first lady of disco, first lady of house, so it was like, and, we did 2 songs in Politics. We should have done a whole album, but Politics, and Stock Aitken and Waterman were the producers, but we did Enough Is Enough, and a cover version of Give Me All Your Lovin' by, ZZ Top. We did dance, like high energy versions, but our voices just blend so well together. The videos look amazing. And all of my music I had videos for too. That was the other thing. Like all of the videos, everything, they rented like a bridge for me to shoot, like Tower Bridge all night. I'm like, what is, it's just like kind of
blessed, in a lot of ways. You're blessed.
I am blessed. I am truly blessed.
Okay, so with the blessing comes up, you have to, as we always say, we have to pay the piper.
I knew you was gonna say pay the piper, baby. And you do.
The blessings, and what's the give? What do you have to give up in to have all this?
Well, I home.
Right. That, and you're having your daughter with you.
Family, friends. You wanted somebody to share, stuff. Just regular kind of rapport that Americans have, like on the street with each other. None of that happened in the UK because they just weren't wrapped that kind of way. It was gray all the time. So you had to keep I had to keep my energy up in the UK because it was rainy. I wasn't used to all the rain, and it was just like a lot. Food
is a big change from
food. I didn't even know where a grocery store was. Nobody told me. They don't tell you everything. Like if you even said to someone, "Oh, what's the heads up on this?" They would, "Well, what does that mean?" It was just really different stuff, like how even like at home, so many little things you take for granted, even in the grocery store, how somebody will say something to you, have a little conversation or whatever, you get some little good energy, or you see something funny just driving down the street, or somebody say yo at the stoplight. All of those little nuances were gone.
That's huge. I know.
Everything, all of that is gone.
But you have a great trade-off. You give up that and look at the dream that you live at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm blessed.
Wait. This is the truth where they say you can't have your cake and eat it too, honey.
Where's my piece of cake at? But I love people. I love music. I love my hometown, Gary, Indiana. I go back and do things more now than I was able to do. And time will pass. The time will come where you would be able to do that. But sometimes you're starving for it so much that you might jump the gun and leave something too soon too, where you've like, you should have, not left so soon, as well. But also people could have explained a lot of things to me, but that's not their culture. That's just what you just had to figure that shit out.
And those days, children of the night, there was no such thing as, let me Google it.
Oh, there was no Googling anything. There was no selfies. I remember
camera, everything.
And I'm glad. And it's because I'm really glad, child. I'm glad there was no cameras in some ways, except for like when I was in the club with what's her name that was married to John Kennedy, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. When I was in the club with her, I wish I would have had it. But you know what? I wouldn't have taken a picture because it was people's time out. Just happened to be in a members club, private, one of them level ones. And I remember she walked in the door and I was like, well, damn.
Wow.
I was like,
that's like American royalty. That's like saying one of our queens, our former queens.
Yeah, I was like, okay. And she was just plain jumper on, some jeans, just coming in just to get some music, feel the vibe there in London at Brown's. No Browns, if you know, you know. And I'm going to leave that there.
Where they let your hair come down.
Yeah.
A lot of things happen at Brown's. It's like saying, what stays in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens?
Yeah. So, so many beautiful moments and, just so much stuff. And like, and Tyree would know and anybody else from early house, Tyrese would know, and anybody else from early house music, Mike Dunn and everybody, Vince Lawrence, David Morales, and all of those brothers that they just really embraced me, everywhere because, like I said, I was able to give them all, like a lot of people, their first like big remixes where you got paid $15,000 for a remix. You know what I mean?
Go ahead now.
So, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I still, that was recoupable from me, right. As well. You're not what I mean?
You're not writing the check right there and there, but it is recouped from the royalties coming in.
Yeah, exactly. So it is still me, extending, stuff out. And so many different people, CNC Music Factory and so many different early people that I can't remember everybody's name, but I remember the faces and the places and backstage and, New Jersey, big up to Club 88 and all those early places that
Peppermint Lounge, Zanzibar,
Docks. Everybody, you had to go through those places to get to graph and to learn, and even like with Salt and Pepper, I worked with them early on a lot. David Shaw,
a friend of mine too, David Shaw.
Yeah, Dave Shaw. The Basement Boys, Ultra Lente. So many people. What's the name that used to tour with me when I first did Taste My Love? Xavier Gold. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
He used to hold me. I can't even. Ooh, child, me and Xavier, we had some fun times. Oh my God!
I bet you carried on.
Just learning, and I would remember things that Lolita said: "Get that money and put it in your girdle."
Soul to Soul. When did you work with Jazzy and how did that go? Because you've been involved with him for a long time, right? With
Soul to Soul, yeah. Happy Face, a thumping bass for a loving race. Me and Jazzy B met at the WAG Club after I finished a set at 3 a.m. I had just finished singing Useless and Got to Get You Back and Wasn't All It Was and all those songs. And him and Nelly Hooper were standing on the side of the stage. I already knew Nelly, but I didn't know that it was a soul to soul connection. I don't even think I and people would say, well, were you under a rock? I don't even think I really knew of Soul to Soul because I was promoting that heavily, that album that I had done for EMI. So when he was on the side of the stage that night, he came up and said, Kym, you want to come to the studio and blow a tune? And in his reggae Jamaican accent with the dreads and everything. And I was like, okay. And I remember we went somewhere in London, beautiful studio, and everything was going on. It was buzzing. 3 studios. People were in every studio, and he played this beat for me. And I heard the beginning of the beat, and he was like, can you write something to that? I was like, I can write something to that. And I almost instantly, the song came out. It's almost like it would have been sitting in there. And when I heard the beat, the sweetest, that's the way I'm missing you, boy. Love is so sweet. It was almost instantly. Him and Funky Ginger, Simon Law, were in there, and I went in the studio and I recorded that song that night. And the energy was so full in Studio 2, they were remixing Ghetto Heaven. And in the other studio, they were remixing Nothing Compares to You. So that night, those 3, Sinead O'Connor's song, Nothing Compares to You, was happening. I wrote Missing You, and Ghetto Heaven was being remixed. That night, I'll never forget it in my life. And that
what studio? Where was this? But what studio? Do you remember where
it was? In kind of Belsize Park-ish. Yeah. Yeah, and Funky Reds was everywhere. Weed, you can smell weed everywhere. Curry goats, saltfish, dumpling, food. Everything was going on. Everything. Daddy Harvey, Jazzy B, Neptali, Nelly Hooper. So all those people from Bristol, because Nelly Hooper was from the Bristol, England point. That's where Nana Cherry came from. That's where Tricky, Goldie, that was that energy. So that energy was there. And then you had like the Africa Center energy, which was like one of like sort of like would have been a Hyde Park kind of Chicago Hyde Park kind of vibe of energy and people with the dashikis and the dreads, but they were like dreads for real. So it was just so, and then there's me, in the mix and with all the music and, back then I probably blew a joint too. I probably was like, okay. Because we talking 1989, the end of 89, going into, because it was for the album 1990, New Decade. I think there's one of the, how do I do this hand? That hand. Yeah, this way, that way. That's one of the gold records from that album. And that one.
So you actually had the writing. You had the writing piece of it too, then, of the song.
Yeah, I wrote it as well. I wrote it as well. And that other one too. Love Me the Right Way. This hand, that hand, that hand. Oh, Love Me the Right Way. That's the platinum for that one, and I wrote that too with Leon Ware. So it's I've always been writing. I've been writing since I was like 14. But so it was just like. Yeah, it was, and then we ruled the world. We went on tour, world tour, Soul to Soul, every country in the world, #1 band. Grace Jones opened up for us in some places, and I ended up touring with her too. And that's a whole nother story, John. And then in some other places, Snap opened up for us, Penny Ford, and Snap. So it was just. Everybody was crossing each other. You'd see Oasis somewhere. You'd see Mick Hucknall. You'd see, and that was, and I'd have my daughter with me. She'd be on tour with me too on her summer break. So, she was in the rooms as well. And all of the energy, Don Taylor and people like that, who he was managing us, and he had managed Bob Marley and all of these people, so it was really, and those early days with Lolita and being in that room with the Money and the Guns really helped on the road. Once the big stuff came in, I was like, I hadn't seen this before. So, there's been stories of where, sometime the supposed to pick up the suitcase. The dude and some girl then picked him up. And he in the hotel with the girl. Suitcase is in the room. And the girl in the suitcase with the money. And, that kind of stuff on tour with, it was a lot.
And the crazy part is, when you're at that level, the stuff you're offered is nuts. The drugs, everything. It's just like you don't have to pay for nothing. It's like the first thing they say, what do you need? What kind of gear you need, right? They ask you, well, what do you mean gear?
Yeah, what do you need? A Speedo, swim cap. They got
you're thinking the gear. I'm like,
yeah, he's like, huh?
No gear. I don't need no gear.
Yeah, I need no gear. I'm good. Yeah, I got some food.
Not that kind of gear. I'm like, what kind of gear are you talking?
Oh my God. It's just like
everybody when Rick James says that's a hell of a drug. Yeah, I did that. It's a hell of a drug. Wait a minute, I didn't do that. Oh yeah, I did that. I did that, yeah. But I mean, bless you. So screen acting, BBC, all that stuff, touring the world, took a break, come back. What's happens here now for you forward? Where are you going now?
Touring again, festivals.
Back in the touring mode already?
Back in touring mode with live bands. Right before COVID, we had played Sydney, Australia, the Opera House with a 50-piece orchestra. Myself, Norma Jean from Chic, Ultra Naté, Cynthia Johnson, who did Funky Town, and Denise Pearson from 5 Star. So we were doing live orchestra. The house orchestra garage stuff is really major. I've got a single dropping like this month, the end of this month. Another one in October, a Rediscover album, which you can do pre-orders now. It's myself. It's a compilation album. It's like myself, Wang Chong, Lee John, because there's a lot of British artists. Lee John, Kiki D, 5 Star, Junior Gliscom, who did Mama Used to Say, and myself. And we're all doing doing a different song that we like. Like I picked an old Motown tune and flipped it. And it's funky than a donkey. It really is.
All right.
It really is. It's so good. And so doing that, been doing television, as I was saying to you before we came on. I do a lot of the panel shows where you talk about music from the 80s, 90s, 70s, different artists. So I've been doing some of those things.
Damn, girl, you know a lot. And you know what? Now that I had this conversation, you do know a lot of things. Like you're deep. It's not like you're just a regular artist. You've been around enough to, life experience and in the trenches to be one of those people to give a personal opinion.
Yeah.
From an experienced background. That makes the wealth worth. I mean, all the money in the world you made. Forget that.
Thank you.
That is what you take. The legacy is, if anything, that you knew and been involved, and you can pass that wisdom on. Trust, that's huge.
Yeah, thank you.
Kudos.
Thank you. And I've been able to do that, was doing like some master class programs over at Columbia in Chicago, working with some of the young people in my hometown with music. We did a program where we were bringing them to London before COVID, giving them from Gary, Indiana to do a trip to London and take them to a musical. I took them to see Thriller live, which was a Michael Jackson story. And I had the benefit of being in the original ones that Michael saw to give his approval. So I knew the producers of that. And we brought the kids from Gary to see a Gary, artist story. So I was able to do that on.
Tell me, you're in Thriller. You're in the original Thriller
live, a musical. Yeah.
You're in a live musical, right? Okay.
Yeah, so I was in the original one for that. I did musical theater as well. So, I just...
How did you not do?
That's what Dwayne Powell used to say.
I want to know what you haven't done. What's on the bucket list that you need to do? Because I'm waiting to hear that now. What's on that bucket list?
If I told you, I have to kill you. I can't tell because I am doing it. Actually, I'm in the midst of doing it actually right now.
So
But some of the other stuff that I do at home and that I want to build is like the is community farming, urban farming, and that types of things. Growing, like teaching the neighborhoods vegetables and flowers and stuff like that. So that's something I'm looking at, and it's really it's a good thing. But yeah, I have you making me bring it out. So you're an excellent interviewer, Lenny, because I don't really usually talk about.
Nobody talks like this on any other show because there's no forum that understands what we do. Sorry.
Yeah, I just normally just go like,
so how is a single and this and that and then on to the next thing? No, we don't. We know all that. We know you've spoken about that. I want to hear the dirt. I want to hear the National Enquirer stuff, the stuff that if someone was to say to you, take the curtain and just pull it over, let's see inside. That's what we want to see. Not, we all know that you've had the huge success. We all know that, God bless you, you've been able to sustain this career for not just 10 years, not for 20, but for many more decades than that, right? For 3 decades and going on the 4th. It's pretty awesome.
I can't even explain it.
Right. So you have to take a step back and say, my God, I've been doing this long. And still in fashion and still sorted out. People want you. Incredible, right?
Yeah, it's really, truly a blessing, Yeah. I was just thinking, I don't know why I'm thinking about like in Germany, 1989, me in Tin City, getting pulled over by the Gestapo at a service station, at a gas station. We were just young kids. Like I said, we were one of the first house acts to perform with a live band. We were on the road just about to go to Berlin, and we get out of the tour bus to go to the bathroom at the gas station. While you're there, you're going to get some food or whatever. We playing. We're like, hey, we just did a gig. It was great. And we're getting on the van. The driver gets his petrol, whatever. And we're driving off. The next thing, really, literally, the Gestapo pull around with the cars and surround us at the damn border. Get out. First they come on, where's your passports? Took all of our passports, made us get out of the tour bus and line up in a single file. The Gestapo, the German police, 1989. Just because we got out of the car at the service station. This is when the wall was up, and they thought we might have been smuggling people across the border.
We want to see your papers.
And that is what one of the guys in the band kept doing. And Byron was telling him, stop acting silly. But he kept saying, we want to see your papers. And we're like standing there going like, stop saying that.
We want to see your papers.
But they did.
Damn right they want to see your papers. I know they were looking for your papers.
They was looking for our papers, and we crossed the border into Berlin, past that wall.
Yeah, but remember, everybody's going, how dare they? It's 1988.
Yeah.
9. This is a different world, people.
Yeah.
Nobody has a camera phone. Nobody has a cell phone with them yet. And if they got snuffed out, nobody would have even known. There was nobody to know. Nobody would have saw it. There would have been nobody no videos from it. And quietly just went away.
To see your papers. I mean, yes. I'm telling you, I'll never forget that in my life. And then 6 months later, I was doing the after party for U2 when the wall came down.
See that? Groundbreaking historical moment.
I took one of the bricks in the wall, too. I don't know where it is.
Eric Clapton, when Eric Clapton was doing his performance, were you there, too? I think he did a live performance from the wall, too, and they took it down.
I think he was the same one with you, too. Right? I think he was on... I didn't watch the whole concert. I came to do, like, the after party Remember them underground German clubs?
Dirty underground.
Dirty. Oh,
I remember. Of course, I remember.
They were harsh, dirty.
I remember my sister-in-law came back from Germany. At that time, she went over with her boyfriend and she brought home a brick. I remember that. We had that. We saw it. She brought home a brick. I remember it. It's like, yes, I could remember seeing the whole thing. It's like crazy. They wore all the clothes on television. Girl, you got history. She's got historical.
Yeah, me and Myra were sitting there looking at each other like, what?
What?
Papers. We want to see your papers.
And I can see Byron because I know Byron so well. Man, shut up, man.
He was telling them, shut up.
Don't shut up, man. I'll kill you. I could just hear Byron saying it.
All of us at a point, because he kept going. He was like, because for him, it was a comedy moment. It was, if I just say, and they did say that, but I was like, damn, this ain't the time to be making jokes.
Won't you be shut? Yo, man, we're going to be on check. Shut up. I can see Byron saying that. Shut up.
Ain't the time for jokes.
I'm going to kill you.
It was hilarious, but great tour. Great tour. We did Montreux Jazz Festival. Me and Byron Stingley with that live band. First house artist to do Montreux Jazz Festival.
Byron Stingley, who comes from a band called Ragtime, becomes another great house icon like you.
I love Byron.
You know what I'm saying? These are fam. This is family, people.
Absolutely.
These are all fam. We've hung together. We've toured together. We've
cried together.
Cried, laughed, made fun of each other.
Made big fun of each other.
That's part of it. If we don't do that, if they don't do that with you, you're not liked. That's a fact. If they're quiet, something's wrong. Then you don't really
Byron, Marshall, just really, really love them. So Paris, Bryledge, and all of the different people. I just remember all of them. Roy Davis Jr. I love Roy and Pevin. I haven't seen Pevin Everett in a few years, but all of the early people. I remember when Gabrielle just dropped. I thought I was gonna lose my mind when I heard that song.
Oh, shock when we heard that single. It was like, whoa. It was like, it just something. Talk about hitting a bat hitting your face. It was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Dreams, right? Dreams, right? Was that record Dreams? If I remember correctly. Wow.
Yeah, Gabrielle. Not her, Gabrielle. Roy Davis Jr. song, Gabrielle.
Roy.
That song, Gabrielle. No, that one, Promised Land, Motherland, all of them all of them tunes, man. Yes.
That's when Chicago, New York was saying something heavy in that time.
Really, really, really saying something. I'm telling you. So just shout out love to all of the pioneers of house, all the ladies, the females, Liz Torres, everybody.
Liz Torres to me is the sound of the end of the garage. Her voice was the garage in New York. Her records were the records everybody was wanting at that time.
Yeah, Liz. I remember Liz. I met her early days too when I was interning. So many people, Louis Pitsley, rest in peace. All these J.B. Ross, all of these. He was called the rapping lawyer. His thing was Sue the Bastards. That was his motto. What is it, Kym? Sue Bastards. Danny Sims, rest in peace, my ex-manager, and all of these different, OGs, because Danny Sims was no joke, and Don Taylor, these OGs are real OGs, just really like, everybody, just big up to the posse of house. Lenny Fontana, big up to you.
Thanks, honey.
Big up to you. Judy Weinstein, big up to you.
Judy. I mean, the list goes on and on. Louis
and the list goes on and on and on and on.
Tony Humphreys.
Masters at Work, Tony Humphreys.
Timmy Regisford.
Timmy Regisford. Oh my God.
I mean, it goes on and on. The names, it's like it's the iconic who's
It's
who.
like respect everybody, you know, just Chaka Khan, girl.
Ooh, Chaka's my girl.
That woman, boy, I tell you.
I want her on this show so bad.
I love her so much. She took care of me because I was living over here. She was over here, and I just moved in with her, and she showed me really sister love and industry and the harsh side of the mountain of the industry too, and how to deal with that. So Yvette, Marie Stevens, girl, you know I love you. So, you know, just so many people that Jean Carn, because I covered her song, Was It All It Was? She brought me on stage many times to sing it with her. Not all divas do that. Some of them be like, you know, Jean Carn, you know, so much. The new ones that came after me and a diva, like Crystal Waters, like CeCe Peniston, like Sybil, because all of them came after. Please get this straight. We know
that. No, we know that.
Now, get this straight. They did come after.
No, we know that. We all remember.
I'm just talking to the people out there. You know, me and Pat was like, we were pioneering really a lot of different places. And you know, wow. Yeah, just really, really beautiful. All the different genres, the 90s, 80s, 70s, the 2000s.
Because we fall in the middle. You know, we all fall in the middle of the disco thing and, you know, the house things. Like we're all right in the dead middle. Because when we were taking off, disco was technically underground again, dead. But we just basically, like Frankie Knuckles always said, we were the disco's revenge. We were this next music that just took over.
Yeah, they said disco had a baby and they called it house.
That's right. The baby was the house music. And here it is, right? Disco made a child. And house music is that child. And you are groundbreaking first female artist to actually get a proper deal and take it professional all the way.
Hence First Lady of House. That's where EMI coined that in 1988.
First Lady of House Music.
Yeah.
Kym Mazelle, thank you so much.
Thank you, Lenny.
We love you. You're an
icon. You. Anytime.
You're an icon. You're an icon.